Have you ever stopped to think about just how much we depend on the Earth's movement? Not just its orbit around the sun, but its spin. The Earth is constantly rotating, spinning on its axis at around 1,000 miles per hour at the equator. We don't feel it, but it's happening all the time. And it's been that way for billions of years. Now imagine for a moment that it suddenly stopped. No slowing down gradually, no warning, just a full stop. What would happen to us? What would happen to the oceans, the weather, gravity, even time? The answers are wild and honestly, kind of terrifying. Let's count down what would really happen if Earth stopped spinning. 10. The air would become deadly right now. The air we breathe is moving with the Earth. If Earth stopped suddenly, the ground beneath us would stop moving, but the atmosphere wouldn't. That means the air around us would continue moving at 1,000 miles per hour. It would create winds more powerful than anything ever recorded. It wouldn't just knock over trees and houses. These winds would flatten everything in their path. Buildings, cities, even mountains in some places. Most living creatures would be swept away instantly. This wouldn't just be bad weather. It would be an unstoppable wave of destruction, moving faster than a speeding bullet. 9. Oceans would crash across the land. If the Earth suddenly stopped spinning, the oceans wouldn't just sit still. They've been moving in sync with the planet's rotation for billions of years. If that movement stopped, the water would keep going, and it would be devastating. Think of it like slamming the brakes on a speeding car. Everything inside keeps moving forward. In this case, the oceans would surge inland at over 1,000 miles per hour near the equator. Massive walls of water would sweep across continents, not just coastlines. This wouldn't be a regular tsunami. It would be more like a global flood on steroids, with waves taller than skyscrapers smashing into every coast at once. Places like New York, Tokyo, Sydney, and Rio de Janeiro would be gone within minutes. Low-lying countries, such as Bangladesh and the Netherlands, would vanish almost instantly. Even areas far from the sea could be flooded as the water rushed to find new equilibrium. The destruction wouldn't just last a few minutes. The oceans would slosh violently for days or even weeks, crashing back and forth across the land. The scale of the damage would be hard to imagine. Billions of lives, homes, and ecosystems would be wiped away before anything could even react. 8. A new supercontinent would start to form. The Earth's spin actually affects its shape. Because of that spin, the planet is slightly wider at the equator than at the poles. If Earth stopped spinning, that bulge would slowly shrink. Gravity would pull everything toward the center, and the water that used to pile up around the equator would flow toward the poles. Over time, the land near the equator would rise, while areas near the poles would sink underwater. This slow shift would eventually change the map of the world. Continents would look completely different. Some places we know today would be underwater forever, and new land might rise where there was once ocean. Over millions of years, this could even lead to the formation of a new supercontinent. 7. The days and nights would last 6 months each. Right now, Earth spins once every 24 hours, which gives us a day and a night. But if Earth stopped spinning completely, the only movement left would be its orbit around the sun. That means one side of the planet would face the sun for 6 months straight, while the other side would be in total darkness for 6 months. This would have a massive effect on life. The side facing the sun would become unbearably hot, and the dark side would freeze. Plants, animals, and even humans would struggle to survive in either extreme. Whole ecosystems would collapse. The only livable areas might be the zones between the light and dark. But even there, life would be hard. 6. Gravity would feel different around the world. Believe it or not, Earth's spin actually reduces the pull of gravity a little at the equator. That's because the spinning motion pushes outward, like when you swing a bucket of water in a circle. If Earth stopped spinning, that effect would disappear. People near the equator would suddenly feel heavier. It wouldn't be a huge difference, maybe a few pounds, but it would affect everything. Machines would need adjusting. Animals might struggle to move the same way. Even the oceans would shift due to the new distribution of weight. Over time, this change in gravity could have long-term impacts on how we live and move. 5. Earth's magnetic field would collapse. The spinning of Earth's molten core helps create the planet's magnetic field. This field protects us from solar radiation and cosmic rays. If the Earth stops spinning, the core might stop spinning too, or at least slow down dramatically. That would weaken or even collapse the magnetic field. Without it, Earth would be exposed to dangerous levels of radiation from the sun. Satellites would be damaged or destroyed. Communication systems would fail. More importantly, life on Earth would be exposed to harmful radiation that could increase cancer rates and genetic damage. Life on the surface would become far more dangerous. 4. Weather patterns would go completely out of control. Our weather is driven by the rotation of the Earth. That spin helps create jet streams and ocean currents, which move warm and cold air around the globe. If Earth stopped spinning, those systems would break down. Weather would become extreme and unpredictable. Some areas would face endless storms, while others might never see rain again. The areas stuck in sunlight for months would become deserts, while the dark side might freeze over completely. The balance of the climate we depend on would be gone. Farming would become nearly impossible in most places, leading to mass food shortages. 3. The moon would slowly drift away. Right now, the moon and Earth are locked in a gravitational relationship, with tides and spin affecting each other. If Earth stopped spinning, that balance would shift. Over time, the moon would slowly drift away from Earth. It wouldn't happen overnight, but the change would affect the tides and the length of the day even more. The moon helps stabilize Earth's tilt, which controls our seasons. Without that stability, our seasons would become chaotic, swinging from extremes of hot to cold unpredictably. The long-term result could make Earth much less friendly to life. 2. Satellites and GPS systems would stop working. All of our satellite systems depend on Earth's rotation. GPS satellites, weather satellites, communication satellites. They're all set up to work with a spinning planet. If the Earth stopped spinning, all those systems would stop working properly. GPS would be completely unreliable. Phones, internet, navigation, all would be thrown into confusion. Air travel and shipping would become much harder. It would take years to redesign systems that work on a motionless planet. In the meantime, the world would be thrown into a technological blackout. 1. Human life would struggle to survive. In the end, the biggest effect of Earth stopping would be on us, human beings. With massive winds, floods, deadly weather, radiation, and a completely changed day-night cycle, our way of life would fall apart. Cities would be destroyed. Farms would fail. Most modern technology would stop working. The few people who survived the initial disasters would face a world that's almost impossible to live in. We'd have to find new ways to grow food, protect ourselves from the elements, and stay connected. Survival would depend on finding safe zones near the edges of the day and night line. And even those wouldn't stay safe forever. So could Earth really stop spinning? The good news is, not anytime soon. It's slowing down very gradually. But we're talking about millions and millions of years before it could even come close to stopping. Still, thinking about it shows just how much we rely on that constant motion. It keeps us safe, helps us grow food, gives us time, and even shapes the land beneath our feet. If you found this video interesting, go ahead and hit that like button. Share it with someone who loves big, mind-blowing questions. And if you want more science explained in simple human language, make sure to subscribe. We've got more amazing stories coming soon, and trust me, you don't want to miss them.